How can I help you? How's your heart? How are you doing? What are you letting go of? What are you moving towards?
Everything. I have been in a major transformation. COVID has been my blessing in disguise, just allowing me to just sit through some shit that I've been in constant motion away, keeping busy,
Mm.
not to see, all the usual stuff. And I've come to notice that everything I do is from the place of a highly traumatized, severely abused child. And I just turned 60. And I don't come from that place of experience of a woman who's who's 60s, who has, children, adultish children. And I come from a place of fear and hiding and pain. And I don't know how to step through that.
Well, one is that you have a very specific goal of coming through as a 60-year-old versus coming through as the now, right?
Yeah,
like right now, you'll be what you are. We don't have to bring
true.
your age, like your body will be what its age is. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Versus kind of creating what it means to be this other person. So what I see is you're trying to escape one lie identity with another one.
No.
Right? Like you're like, why aren't I this identity that I've decided that I should be? Yet the now identity takes the identity of your childhood and it brings it to the surface and you can cry it out. So one of the things is the childhood identity is trying to come up so it can leave. And instead of us just healing it and loving it, we're resisting it and wishing we were this other identity that's actually just something you created that was an escape from the childhood one.
It's true.
Right? So the childhood one is coming up for a reason. It's because it's stored in the memory of your body, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. First of all, after what I just said, what do you feel in your body right now? I'm going to take some notes if you don't mind.
Well, I feel that that what your words are true. They feel true.
Mm-hmm.
And it still leaves me in that place of part of the other thing that has really brought this up for me is I've noticed a severe tendency for either perfection or I ain't going to do it. Mm-hmm. If it isn't perfect, then I'm not putting myself out there.
How do you measure if something's perfect?
If it looks good, if it's received well, if it matches whatever image I have in my mind of what it's supposed to be, which of course often is not. So it's this battle of what you're saying. So I'm picturing the 60-year-old and what she's supposed to look like and what she's supposed to be doing with her life and all this kind of stuff. And so I'm moving from an imperfect childhood to a perfect 60-year-old.
How do you know what she's supposed to be doing? Is it just based on?
Exactly. Until now, I'm not sure, except that, I should have all the answers because I'm an adult, and
do they have the answers?
Until recently, I really kind of thought they did.
Did your parents have the answers or did they just look like it?
They just said they did.
Right. But did they?
No.
Right.
Yeah. So this is all the crumbliness of the past year for me. All of these things are just like crumbly. And some of it's like, holy shit, Batman. And some of it's really painful. And some of it's like, I'm not ready for you yet. And
yeah. So first of all, I want to just say you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And what you're really trying to do is avoid pain.
Yes.
Right. And that avoidance of the pain is causing it to not be able to be held and loved and, seen, because there's a ton of pain in your body from your childhood. Right.
Yeah.
So our mind goes, if I just become what a cliche story of in my mind, society says a 60-year-old woman is, then I don't have to feel the pain of the childhood. Right.
That's true.
Right. So take a deep breath in. Release it. And then just tell me what you're feeling in your body right now.
I'm feeling nervous, like flutters.
Okay, let that be there. This new you is going to hold space for nervousness and not run and not fix it and not mentally find some escapist solution so you don't have to feel nervousness. Let's just be present. Where's the nervousness in your body?
Like solar plexus, sort of. Not
Okay.
my stomach, not my heart. Kind of in between.
Mm. Deep breath in. If I was to ask it directly what it feels like alone, does it feel scared? Does it feel lost?
It feels, it's moving very quickly, and it's like a caged rabbit. It's a caged kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I said rabbit, but like a small animal, just sort of like looking
So
for
that
an out.
that an out from what? That means it's
I don't know. It's
so
like I'm in a box.
yes. So you're the highest you can see right now is what you're telling me is your response to a feeling. It's running around, right? So if I was to go one step even deeper and go, is it running from alone? Is it running from helplessness? Is it running from shame? Is it running from guilt? Is it running from abuse? Is it running from like? Do you know what I'm saying? Like we're trying to.
Yeah, it's not shame, but it's close. It's running from just being sad.
There it is. Take a deep breath in. Be with that for a minute. Good. This is good. This is, if it's running, it's trying to make you not see something and you just saw it. So we're shining a light on there's sadness there. And think of being her. Think of if you're her. She's like a whatever 5-year-old, 6-year-old girl from some traumatic moment that's trying to be seen. And then you're going, instead of me looking at you, we got to become a 60-year-old woman that I've decided. Right. So if you're her, like if Vivi came up to me, you know, one of the things we do that's really surreal is if you picture it as another kid or your own child, you know, if Vivi came up to me and said, I feel unlovable, how insane would it be if I was like, well, let's get some makeup on and show you to the neighbors and see if they think you're attractive. Like, let's get you lovable. What I would do is hold her and let her feel unlovable in my arms.
Yeah.
Right. And so if you're looking at your inner child, this girl saying to you, I feel sad. And you're like, well, I need to become someone else. And she's like, what about me though? And you're like, I got to become some arbitrary idea of a 60-year-old. And she's like, yeah, but I'm sad. Okay, I'll just stay probably angry too that I haven't been seen. I'll stay stuck. I'll stay trapped. I'll stay hidden for you.
Yeah.
Like if I ask the sadness directly, like go right to where the wound is, what does she need right now?
The first thing that came to my head was fresh air.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry you're locked with me for another 45 minutes, but
no, I don't mean.
You're welcome to, if you need to take a second or open windows or whatever.
No, it's not even like physically fresh air. It's sort of the idea of fresh air.
Tell me more about that. That's really fascinating.
It's like a breath. I need a breath.
Take a deep breath. I know you're not quite meaning literal, but why not get as close to literal as we can until we really feel. It's almost like, sounds like, tell me if this sounds right. It sounds like God, it's just like she would like to be seen by more of a now energy, a new breath of being seen, a new energy that's not trapped in herself. She would like the heart open to the now, like fresh now air, fresh being seen, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because she's really been, what would you say would be how she's been seen up until now? We've been escaping from her, we've been hiding her, we've been, right? How would she say she's been seen up until now?
Well, not mostly as, just kept in the box, kept in, because it's safe to hide.
Yes, it is. It isn't, but it feels like it is, right?
It's what I learned,
Yeah.
and so.
So you're bringing, so what you're being then is what you learned, not what you are.
Yes.
Right. So by the way, the antithesis isn't we yank her out of there, but instead we kind of just stand next to her and shine a light on her and let her decide when she's ready to come out, right?
Right.
Right. So we don't go, I got to get her out now, and like, hey everybody, my inner child, like, like that's but we just yeah.
It's,
well,
yeah.
There's two types of hidden. There's the hidden where you actually don't know it's there.
Right.
Which we had a little bit when we were like escaping, I feel like a rabbit, and then we found it. And then there's the hidden like this. Vivi wants to play hide and seek all the time. And she will hide in front of me and tell me while she's hidden to count. She'll like be sitting on my lap with a blanket over herself. And I'm aware she's there, but she feels like she can hide.
Yeah.
Right. So she'll sit there on my lap with a blanket on, and I'm counting to 10. And I'm like, okay. And then I got to do the fake, where's Vivi? So it's like you're aware completely that she's there, but you're hidden. And that is a whole new different hidden. Oh, I'm gonna make tonight's call called that. If you don't, I got to real quick write that down because it's so exciting. I hope you don't mind me. It's just so guided.
No, it's so cool.
Ah. Isn't this exciting?
It is. It is. Yeah.
The two types of hidden. So we have this one hidden, right, that you can see. So can you feel that you're letting her hide, but you are with her, right?
Yes.
So now do you see that she's seen, even though she thinks she's not?
Yes.
Right. So this is like we're shining a light on someone who thinks they're in the darkness, which is meaning like we're bringing safety to her. You're bringing actually, I'll tell you, for the first time ever, she's being seen since certain traumatic moments in her childhood.
Right.
Right. So this is, by the way, ironically, this is how we transcend the childhood story. Right. That instead of trying to not see it and escape it, like we're now seeing it, right? So we let her kind of just dance around thinking she's hiding. It's really special. Right? Now let's talk real quick while I want to do this next part while we hold space.
Okay.
Or for her. Like, in other words, I'm going to tell you and her, like I'm like a neighbor coming over and talking to you while the kid's hiding in a box next to us, and we both know she's there. Do you get what I
Right.
mean? So I want you to have awareness of her while we talk about this.
Okay.
The other thing is this idea of what a 60-year-old should be doing, right?
Mm.
First of all, that can only come from what you've seen in the past. That can only come from comparison to someone else.
Yep.
That can only come from an idea that's actually a painful escape from the child, right? So what I want to do is talk to you about just undoing the idea of what you're supposed to be, and just know that the universe is right on track 100% of the time, and you are exactly where you are. There's literally, if anything was different, we don't know if you would have been in a car accident. We don't know if the whole world would have changed. We don't know if we don't know anything about why. Like, your awareness was what it was all the way up till now, and it will be what it is, and it will keep expanding. But we always do the best we can with our awareness, and then our awareness changes and we grow more and whatever. But there's a reason you were everything you've been up until now. So one is we got to undo any guilt about the past. We got to forgive every part of the past. Is there any part of your past you need to forgive, whether it's what you did or what someone did to you? Or
Yeah, a lot of it is just, it's funny that you use the term that I've been dealing with for the past week, really, like, consciously, in traffic, in the shopping center, supermarket, whatever. Everyone is doing the best that they can.
mm-hmm.
And that's really kind of been my mantra for the past, I just came to me, like, what that really means came to me in the past week or so. And that includes my parents. That includes, my husband. It includes me. It includes all of it. And so that's been the big thing in the past 2 weeks, of just, the asshole that just cut me off. And instead of me, flipping him the bird, which I love to do,
Mm-hmm.
He's doing the best he can. I don't know what his problem is, but it's not mine. And so there's a lot of so what I've been doing, that long story is telling you that I've been trying to forgive in the moment, just to kind of get the idea of what that's like.
Yes.
And just be like,
So, okay, let me ask you this. If we take that from everyone's doing the best they can we take it to this? Do you see the difference between everyone's doing the best they can and everybody is perfect?
Yes. And I think that that's the light bulb that went off for me. Because if you're not doing it right, then it's wrong. And this is mostly what I say to myself, then it's wrong, and you're wasting your time, and you're doing it wrong, and it's awful. And, and I carry that judgment. It's all self-talk to other people too.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is that separation for me, which is so brand new. The separation between perfection and life, doing the best that you can in the moment with what you have, where you're at.
What I hear as a difference, and tell me if this resonates with you at all, is everyone's doing the best that they can is really beautiful, but it almost a teeny bit to me implies there is better coming, or there is better available. So it's not quite awesome. Meaning, like, it's still really, by the way, it's still actually a high vibration next step for you to have realized that, right? So I want you to know that I for years realized everybody's doing the best that they can. But I noticed that at one point, an even freer thing is where they are is right. Like there's like something about everyone's doing the best they can means, like, they don't get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But they're trying, and eventually they'll be what I've decided they should be. Right? And do you feel that?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think that was the intention behind it, but I could see that it's not a big step.
Right. And when I went to the darkness retreat and spent 10 days in pitch black, the first 5 days I had all these optimistic visions of what I was going to do with my life after. But the last 5 days, it only took me to my darkness. And it was like, stop thinking high vibration is better than low vibration. Like, see the perfection in the unconscious people, see the perfection in the darkness, see the perfection in hate. Like stop trying to be an optimistic light. Know that your real light shines when we understand that literally, the Eckhart Tolle is equally valuable to the angry football fan eating 90 bags of Cheetos a day. Like, that they're equally valuable, right? And what happens is, when we get our new awareness, we sometimes put on others, they should have our new awareness. But our new awareness is trying to tell us, and God knows what it's doing with everything.
Right.
And so what if your parents were not only doing the best they could, but were actually exactly right? That's exactly what they need to be and what they needed to be. That's exactly what served the highest purpose on the planet. That's exactly what your greatest growth would be. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What does that feel like for you?
Oh.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If this is a really weird thing to say, but everything dark that ever happened, like starting everything that happened more than 9 months before you were born,
Mm-hmm.
that was really bad. You wouldn't have been born, at least this way, if any of these things didn't happen. Like, if there was no Hitler, we wouldn't be here this exact same way. If there was
It's
no,
true.
right? So this is really interesting. Like, I've realized, I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about this, but let's say you and I finish this phone call 10 seconds later than scheduled. Have you ever heard me talk about this?
I don't think so.
So let's say we literally me doing this, just change the whole course of the world, right? Because let's say we finish this call 10 seconds later than scheduled, and you get into the car and you stop at a red light that would have been a green light, right? And the car behind you stops too, right? But they would have run it and gone through it, right? Let's say now that car is delayed a minute, and that car is like a dude that goes into the store a minute later than he would have, and bumps into a woman who becomes the love of his life. Would have missed her had we not done 10 seconds. That literally creates a new child, right? Or doesn't create a child, or he misses her. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So our pain comes from the belief that this is about the separate story of me versus the whole thing. And if you could like helicopter up and look at all of what's happening versus just, I can't believe that person left me, or I can't believe that, this thing that it only seems negative to the separate self. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so the illusion of you, the story of you as a separate self, is the one who's the victim. But you don't know how many like, if you learned that if your parents had been any different, people that are your friends that are under 60 wouldn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, people that, you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
there's we don't know if you would have even survived till now. We don't know if like one extra hug from dad would have changed not only how you see things, but everything. So then we go, okay, knowing that I could take the deck of like a deck of your life, 52 different lives you could have, and I take the card that we have right now, and if I said to you, okay, I'm going to put this in the deck and shuffle it, would you want me to?
Probably not.
Right? Because we don't know what we're pulling out. Right? Like, oh, in this one, your mom was really present and loving and explained life to you in a way that you wanted and never was aggressive or whatever. And we go, yeah, but you were totally unfulfilled and over medicated and suicide, whatever. Like, I don't know, but like, everything changes. Like, literally, it's so weird to think I have a pen here, but if I put it here, I just created a whole different planet. So everything's different around nothing, right? Like literally that, just new children, right? So now we go, I don't know all the factors because I don't have a guarantee. I mean, I don't know, maybe it would have been better, but I don't know that it would have been better. Like, yeah, maybe you would have come out a billionaire, but everyone was after you and you had a bunch of stalkers, or maybe, like, I don't know, right? And or we find there was a whole new giant nuclear war because your mom smiled once. Like,
Yep.
isn't that crazy?
That's
So
true.
now that we know that, we go, I don't think I want to put the card back. Right? So now it's factually perfect because you wouldn't trade this for any other life, a life where they were what you thought they wanted. Let me ask you this, would you put the card back if we could get the life that you keep identifying that a 60-year-old woman should be? I'm like, okay, I'm going to put this in and we can pull out this ideal woman that you've decided you should be.
That's tempting.
It's tempting, but what about the pain that you're feeling now that we're looking at?
I know.
What if you got what you wanted? Maybe you would never have seen the pain. Maybe you would have kept that inner child hidden forever.
Oh,
Right? The worst, the highest suicide is actually from people who are very circumstantially successful. Like the upper middle class is the most suicidal place because they have things how they want it. In my eyes, what that means is since they have things how they want them, they don't have to look within as much. So they're actually in more pain because why would I leave this cage that I live in if people keep throwing candy and money and good relationships and I never have to see who I am? So now we go, okay, let's say you have the ideal life, but you might have kept this girl buried in there. And now we're going to cry her out and meet God. And maybe you'll have the life God wanted versus what your ego wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. I try to control all the circumstances to keep myself safe, to keep myself
hidden.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Still trying to do it.
It's okay. That's a habit. Your pattern's trying to do it. So you even
that's right.
So the pattern that's trying to do it, make that another kid playing hide and seek.
Okay.
Right? So I see you, pattern, that's trying to do it. I see two people. I see a girl that's hidden and she wants me to count to 10. And I see a boy next to her who's got a giant blanket and it's just a giant lump on the floor that's moving, thinks that I can't figure it out. But then who are you? You're the now that sees them, right?
Yep.
And it's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, things are quite calm. Just sort of looking at me.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is.
So even though you might feel some pain, that's because now you're not trying to control it. God can come in and surgery is painful, right?
Yeah.
Right. But by the way, it gets less painful the more you're connected to the now, because imagine that all it is like, imagine all meditating is or connecting with the now or talking to God is expanding your portal. And the bigger it is, the more stuff can come out, right? And the faster it can kind of slip out. But if you're more in your head and looking at circumstances and living on Facebook or caring about what other people think or whatever, then you're shrinking your portal. So the stuff is stuck and it can't come out.
Okay.
Right. So when we are really clear and meditating, sometimes it just comes out and you almost don't even know it. It's because that portal is so big and you're just more connected to God. So, and one of the things that's trying to happen is life is trying to connect you, undo you from, I care what everyone else thinks, or I care about being this ideal, story of some American idea from the past that isn't even, by the way, probably your image of a 60-year-old from the past too.
Probably.
Right? So if we're doing everything from the past, we might as well be on rotary phones and, you know what I mean? Like do everything like,
yeah.
Telling someone last night, you got to remember also the time we're in is different and the advice that we have from before this time might not apply anymore. Like When I was a kid, my mom taught me so beautifully how to buy houses and like own real estate, and then I listened to her advice, and I was like, she owned like 5 houses, and they were rental houses for other people. And then 2007, I bought a house, and then 2008, the market crashed. Her
Yeah.
advice would have been great for the 80s, right? So the ideal woman you're becoming might be a 70s idea or a 80s idea, or
No.
right?
Yeah.
Like some
Yeah.
Stanford woman or some idea of success that has no depth. But we want to be the 2021 woman who feels, who heals, who looks at, who's present, who meditates, who's lost a lot. And lets God come in. You're merging with source. Any idea you have of yourself is going to be inaccurate because you're merging with source.
Yeah, I don't want to be any of that other vision of that 60-year-old. I don't want any of that. Yeah.
Yes.
That certainly gives a lot of opportunity, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes. What God wants for you is so much bigger than what you want for you. What you want is like your own idea of security so that you don't have to feel your inner child. God's like, let's see what you are once she's seen. Let's see what I have for you ongoing. It's pretty crazy what God has for you when you are in surrender. It's amazing.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that is what I want.
Yeah. Well, the way God moves is now to now to now, right? So in other words, the way humans move is I need to have a trajectory and an endpoint and a knowing and a goal.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
way God moves is you're always in the now, but you're either present to the now in this moment or this moment, right? And you more and more and more you start to have conversations with God. You start to like merge with God. You start to cry out even the part that's talking to God that's separate from it. This, before our call, I walked almost 2 hours just in silence, like discovery, discovery, discovery. Sometimes talking out loud, sometimes talking back as God. Like, I'd be like, I want it, and then God would go, I got it. Don't worry. And then as God said to the ego, I have a question. Like, if I have everything, what would you do? And then I answered it, and God goes, no, the answer is there is no you. Jesus, God, you're a little bit of a jerk the way you present this.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think that's really why I wanted to connect with you, to clear those cobwebs a little bit. Because there are times when I'm meditating, and I don't know why it is like this, but off to the side, I feel a very big vastness, like just, oh, you know what it is? It's that breath of fresh air. It's like, it's like, I don't even know how to say, it's like the wind over tall grass. It's just, I can feel that. But then I always bring myself back to what I know and what I'm used to and
Which one of those two things do you think you are?
Well, I think that I'm the field, I'm the openness.
You're the vastness.
Yes.
So your child ego is trying to protect you from you. Right? And that field is you, because the ego can be cried out and you can still be here. So the girl that aimed back and did that, the part of you that aimed back to the small story,
yeah,
dissolve and you'll still be here, which means there's no way that's you.
Correct. Yes.
So check this out. Here's a way to even free this more. Instead of saying, I saw the vastness and I moved myself back, say, she saw me for a second and she ran and she moved herself back, meaning like you're talking about her, every negative thing or small thing you call her versus I, because the only thing I is the all that isness.
Okay.
So the vastness you're seeing, you're seeing it through your eyes. So what is that? That's got to be you.
It's true.
And it's asking you to merge with it. It's asking you to receive it. It's asking you to pay attention to it, right? And so, and then when, check this out, here's how you work with the little girl. When she moves back, she's hide and seeking back. Like, see her in the tent doing it, right? So you still stay connected to vastness and let her think she has control, right? While you're the whole thing.
Talk to me more about allowing her to just be without being in charge.
Okay. So do you have, you said you have kids, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Remember when they were kids and they would play some pretend version of a grown-up game? Like my daughter and I like to play restaurant.
Oh my God.
Right? She's a waitress and I order food, or vice versa, right?
Yes.
And so, you know, sometimes she feels and really believes that she's in charge.
Yes.
Right? But I let her, you know, like, or she's like, I'm gonna be your boss. Okay, dad, you sit here. Mom, you sit here. You guys do this thing, right? What is that? She wants to feel so she can grow, or to be seen. Like she wants to, you know, or I mean, part of parenting, right, is giving them things that actually even have a not physical risk, but a little bit of, oh, she might make a mess if she cooks this, or if she,
Yeah.
right? And so there's a feeling of in charge, but you understand you're the parent, right?
Right.
So the ego's way of dissolving is, the ego's way of dissolving is by being allowed to be seen, right?
Yeah.
By being allowed to be seen, and you becoming present for it. So let's do an example. Like, can we have her doing it now instead of even anticipating the future? Could we just do it now so you can actually experience it?
Okay.
What does she want right now? What does she want to do?
I don't know. It's very quiet, very still. I think, oh, that's interesting. There's a little discomfort that I'm seeing her a little bit. Sort of like, yeah, I just drew on the walls and yeah, you're seeing it and I'm waiting for you to yell at me kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. How blindsiding for her will it be if you're not yelling at her? She drew on the walls.
Yeah.
And so what's the actual thing she feels caught about? Like that's like drawing on the walls. What's the real thing she feels in trouble for? Just existing?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Okay. So let's tell her for a second, like this is a new day, right? You can say to her in that energy, you are allowed to exist in my body.
You are allowed to exist in my body.
Yeah. So she's used to you being mad about her.
Yeah, it's very true.
Right. So now that's going to shock her, right? You want to befriend her. You want to be peace with her. You want her to live. We want the ego to be allowed to live. The second you are cool with it, it doesn't run you. It's you thinking, I got to get over ego or fix ego that makes it have power over you. But if you get that you're the now, then the ego doesn't. And you're just like, it's your kid. It's just this thing that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let her, so what? You said you're allowed to exist in my body. What's she saying or feeling now?
Trepidatious, big eyes, waiting for the other shoe to drop kind of thing.
So let her do that.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say you adopted a kid who came from a dangerous home.
Right.
Right? And you're safe, but they weren't.
Right.
Do you see how the kid might need a month of acclimating to?
Of course. Of course.
She's in a new home now.
That's nice. Yeah.
right? That's a way to see her. Yesterday, you didn't have the awareness you have today.
Right.
So she's in a new home now.
Okay. That feels very good. That
So,
feels very good.
so can she be, scared a little bit and not sure that this is okay? You just stay present with her.
Yeah.
Right. If you've ever gotten many rescue dogs have this shaky, came from something bad, right?
Right.
So they need to go through a while of acclimating to this. So we're going to let her be trepidatious. We're going to let her, by the way, every negative feeling is her. Every negative feeling is her.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yes. Yeah, and every like fix it feeling is another form of her sneaking around as a different, wearing an out disguise,
Right.
like it's all her. So we just get present and let her be lost. And when you have a thought like, how long do I keep doing this? Is this working right? That's her. Like, I don't get if this is working. That's her. I didn't work before. That's her. Where's this coming from? That's her. Right. So we're learning to get present and just be the house for her and different forms of her, right? Everything that feels like a limitation, like I'm not enough, that's her. I'm never going to be the right thing. I need to be this 60-year-old woman. That's her.
Yeah. That's all true. Oh my God. Yeah, that's all true.
Mm-hmm. So you're either the now or you're caught in the resistance to a version of her. And so when that happens, just get more now, not more, how do I fix this and become something
Right.
later.
Right.
And you go through a stage of boring, that's her, right? She's used to a chaotic life.
Oh my God.
So,
Yeah.
so just now and presence can be really painful at first, but then she starts to see it's safe and she'll be cried out very shortly.
Okay.
Or parts of her will be. And then
Right.
there'll be more you and you bring in more now and more her gets cried out again.
Hmm. There's such relief right now. It's amazing.
I love that. Like this now feeling, it just feels peace. Like,
Yeah.
I think that society has created a belief that you're in the now when you're in what I call a jackpot high.
Yes. Yeah.
Like or a jackpot low. Like I either need to be feeling like I hit 3 cherries on a jackpot, right? Or 3 sevens or whatever pays out forever. Or I need to be crying everything out. And the
Hmm.
middle ground area is not enough, right? And so we've acclimated to, like, imagine there's 0 point, there's point, this middle point that's here that allows God to come in, and we've been acclimated to a plus or minus 8,
Yep.
right? And we think the norm is only at massive levels of success or externally, so you get to feel the high, but then that's what falling in love is. You go to a +8, but then you expect this person to be what you just +8'd on them.
Yeah.
And then the second they start to be +6, which is still amazing, we start to hate them.
Yep.
Right? I had an expectation for a +8. You're in a jackpot that was supposed to pay out exactly how I decided over and over and over again. And so versus like us being connected to here, and then a relationship can form around that, or abundance can form around that, but this peace you feel that has some emptiness and some really amazing feelings and tingling meets a lack of control and loss. And then tomorrow it won't feel like that. It'll feel more here and now and a little more, and then in a month of that, it feels like, I don't know, you cry things out, it starts to feel like what you are, and you start to merge into that 0 point, or, that now energy.
right? And I'm not there all the way either. I go back and forth at a probably +2 and -2 now, you know, but it's closer.
Yeah. Yeah. I am a 90 miles an hour person.
Right.
Head down, work,
Yeah.
do what it takes, all this kind of thing. And that's the stuff that doesn't feel good. That's
Yeah.
the stuff that I don't like.
It's your way of escaping the girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's obviously not sustainable.
No, but it doesn't feel good either. There's
Right.
like no payoff to it.
Yeah. This work is both incredibly easy because all you're doing is nothing, and crazy hard because it's so painful because you have no control. The ego has no control.
Right.
You start to actually learn you have a ton of control with the now, but you have control of what you're not expecting. In other words, like you're like in this amazing surrender, and life just surprises you all the time. So you feel like you have a lot of control because it's just, I'm just here and I'm fine with everything. And then life goes, oh, then you're able to receive amazing things. So I'm going to just blindside you with magic, synchronicities, and everything.
Yeah. And I think that is what my heart is searching for in all the wrong places.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
had been in all the wrong places. And literally the past year is sort of like narrowing it down and weeding out, I mean, because there's some obvious things, of course. And then as it gets more subtle, it's hard to weed.
Mm-hmm. And we're just there for that.
Yeah.
Because there's sadness coming. That's like, it wants to give up. That's a great moment.
Yeah. It's exciting. Because there is something, that vastness means something to me. That feeling, that visual that's right at my peripheral vision.
How fortunate that you know that exists.
Yeah.
So we got to honor that's the thing to acclimate to versus the highest job or
right.
The 60-year-old, right? Like that thing is, it's like we're just changing our aim through the now. So instead of the goal being this much money a year, we now make the decision to just listen to that vastness. It's not even a long-term goal. It just starts now. I listen to the vastness, and then you start to become the vastness, and then you don't know that you are, almost, because the part of you that would compare yourself to how you used to be or can see the change dies. So you just are the vastness, and you almost have to watch an old video of yourself to see the change. You're just always feeling peaceful now. And this is what I believe all of humanity is slowly merging towards, this God version of ourselves, and the release of our pasts and our patterns. Yeah,
I'm totally 100% with you on that. And I think that that's what this whole year and a half has been about. Mm-hmm. Is just the welcome mat has been unfurled for all of us.
Yes. I mean, it's beautiful how you started that with, you said COVID, and what 2020 was actually for you a blessing because it was an awakening.
Oh, absolutely.
And one thing I think we're realizing that's so beautiful is our patterns of needing to achieve and getting somewhere else have been totally scrambled, and we're starting to realize like there might be something more important than getting my money right, and ironically those things can take care of themselves.
Yeah, I feel privileged to be alive at this time, to be part of this process, to be part of this opportunity. And I think that it's a gift that we're here at this time to be witness for our children and grandchildren. And it's just the beginning. And I think it's really awesome.
I have a question for you.
Mhm.
And I want you to know that I'm 100% fine with a no.
Okay.
But I at least have to ask. This this one-on-one felt like one of the most solid, incredible, and you were so vulnerable. I mean, I've done 600 of them, but this is the first time there's a mild calling to me to see if you have an interest, because I think it would help a lot of people in making this a YouTube video. And if you don't want to, and you want the privacy of what you talked to me about, that's fine. And I would tell you, if you were a yes to it, I would totally give you something like another one-on-one or something to make up.
Well, that's very generous. I didn't name names, so I'm fine with that.
I really want you to hear that
Yeah.
you signed up for a private one-on-one, so that can be totally honored. But there's so much in here that so many people could benefit from. But I also really surrender to what your heart thinks is right, because also it could be sacred for you to keep it personal, and that's fine. I don't even know that we do it. It's just showing up for me to at least see what you think about it.
I'm definitely open to it, because I feel, again, that's a way to be seen that I have not been in the past, and a way to take the blanket off my head.
Wow. So it's actually growth and exciting for you, because it would be something that
Yeah.
From what you're saying, I'm not want to make sure I'm not leading the witness here. you're saying that you feel it would actually be growth and expansion because you have been hidden so much. So for you to like suddenly be on a thing that's getting a lot of views for the purpose of maybe freeing some other people.
That would be an honor.
Okay, I'll tell the team to do it if you want to.
Okay.
How exciting. And then just as a thank you from me, because it's on my channel and it's helping, other people and stuff like that, I'm going to offer you another one-on-one.
Oh, thank you.
And
That's
also
very kind.
Give you a ticket to Now Rising too, which is our 2-day event that's at the end. If you want to come to that.
I love that. Thank you. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Now Rising one-on-one. I just love this call so much.
Thank you.
It was just you were so the right vulnerable. I felt like I had connected. Just like there was so much content that came through it that it really makes tangible sense all the way through. And I think there's a lot of people trying to escape their child by being, an ideal version of themselves. And there's something really special in this call.
Thank you. I feel very seen, and I feel that we got to exactly where I needed to focus, and where I needed to just be, where I needed to see and release, and also just kind of, it's funny that what I told you about that field or whatever has been so, I haven't even labeled it or thought about it. It's just been in the meditation, and it's just sort of been there, and I haven't even acknowledged it. So in saying it to you, I realized that I need to just breathe into that a little bit more. That I need to do that and stop just looking at it kind of, I see you.
Right. Right. And this is why, do you meditate a lot?
It's been about a year.
Okay.
Almost every day.
Or almost every, okay. And how long do you go?
Anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour.
Okay. So now I want you to bring what you learned into this, right? You're meditating and you're seeing the patterns do their thing, and you're seeing the little girl and you're seeing her, and you're just staying there, letting the yeah, but show up, letting the what if be there, letting the what you need to be. This is you actively creating an even safer space for her, so she can lash out for a minute and see that she's still safe, or be scared and see that she's still safe. That's the new meditation we're gonna bring in. I'm gonna dare you to go an hour if you can.
I know, I'm excited to now. And I'm excited not to be triggered by the lash outs.
Right. Yeah, they're just her. It's just like when Vivi says, you know, you're dumb or whatever. Actually, she didn't say that.
No, she will though. She
Yeah.
will in a couple of
Sure.
years.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
and I totally get that it's their safe space to experiment. I know that.
Yeah.
As a child, they need a space to
Right.
poke the bear and not get killed. And so yeah.
And so do you. Your inner child needs that. And that's why you're going to become that.
Yeah. Never thought about that.
Isn't that
But
amazing?
that's exactly right.
Well, you're amazing.
Thank you. I'm so moved by your work and your words. And a lot of times your silliness just takes that edge off for me. And I just really appreciate your presence in my world and what you're offering people. So thank you for everything.
Thank you. I'm so honored to meet you.
Nothing is as true